Checking the oil level is an important preventative maintenance step. A consistently low oil level shows oil leakage through damaged seals, defective gaskets, or past worn rings or valve guides. If the oil looks milky in colour or has water droplets in it, this is commonly caused as a result of short journeys not allowing the oil or the engine to operate at normal temperature long enough to evaporate the water content in the oil. Alternatively, the cylinder head gasket may be blown or the cylinder head or block may be cracked. This needs to be fixed straight away. If you see small dirt or metal particles clinging to the dipstick, the oil should be changed. The engine oil level is checked with the dipstick, which is located on top of the valve cover on our car, but the location varies on different vehicles. The dipstick fits in a metal tube that leads down into the engine oil pan. Don't check the oil level immediately after the engine has been running because it won't have had time to drain back into the pan to give you an accurate reading. Check it before the vehicle's been driven or just give it 5 minutes after the engine has been switched off. First, pull out the dipstick, wipe the end with a clean rag or paper towel to clean off the oil, and then insert the clean dipstick all the way back into the tube and pull it out once more. You should now be able to see the oil level clearly on the end of the dipstick, and it should be between the lower min and upper max markings. These markings are important. Do not allow the level to drop below the lower line because oil starvation can cause engine damage. Also, don't overfill the engine because adding oil above the upper line may cause oil-fouled spark plugs, oil leaks, or oil seal failures. If you do need to add oil, then use a funnel, and then afterwards, wait a few minutes to allow the level to stabilise, pull out the dipstick and check the level once again. Add a bit more if it's needed until it reaches the upper line. Put the dipstick back into its tube and then put the filter cap back on, tightening by hand only. The cooling system keeps your car's engine running at the correct temperature, and if the cooling system fails, then the engine will overheat and break down. It's very important, therefore, to check the coolant level on a regular basis. The antifreeze that you use comes in several different types, and you should never mix green-coloured ethylene glycol antifreeze with silicate-free antifreeze, which is red or orange. Check with your local authorities about disposing of used antifreeze. Many have collection centres for safe disposal, and you must certainly never dump antifreeze on the ground or pour it down drains. So, to check the coolant level, open up the bonnet and locate the coolant reservoir. If you can't find it, have a look in your manual and that will tell you where to look. The level of the coolant in the reservoir varies with the temperature of the engine. When it's cold, the level should be below the full or max mark on the reservoir. Once it's warmed up, the level should be at or near the max mark. If it isn't, you must allow the system to cool before attempting to open the cap. Even then, you should wrap a thick cloth around the cap to protect your hand and turn it to the first stop. If any steam escapes, wait until the system has cooled further, then remove the cap. Now you need to add coolant until it reaches the max or full mark on the reservoir. If it needs only a small amount, you can use water. This does dilute the antifreeze mixture though, so if you need to add more, you should make up a mixture of antifreeze and water according to the maker's instructions. This is a good time to check the condition of the coolant fluid, which should be relatively clear. If it's brown or rust coloured, the system should be drained, flushed and refilled. The coolant should be replaced at regular service intervals anyway because the corrosion inhibitors it contains wear out over time. Now you can install the coolant reservoir cap securely, close the bonnet and drive the vehicle. Then check the coolant level again. If the coolant level drops consistently, there may be a leak in the system. In that case, inspect the radiator, hoses, radiator cap, drain plugs, thermostat housing and the water pump. If there are no visible leaks, then have the radiator cap pressure tested. Brake fluid can harm your eyes and damage painted surfaces, so use extreme caution when handling or pouring it. Don't use brake fluid that's been standing open or is more than a year old. Brake fluid absorbs moisture from the air, which can cause a dangerous loss of brake effectiveness. You use only the specified type of brake fluid. You mix different types such as DOT3 or 4 and DOT5 that can also cause brake failure. You'll find the brake master cylinder fluid reservoir underneath the bonnet. Often it's on the driver's side of the engine compartment, and the filler cap will usually have a helpful icon to identify it. You should check your vehicle's user manual if you're not sure. All you need to do is check that the fluid level is between the full and add or min and max lines on the side of the reservoir. You only need to do anything if the fluid level is low. If it is, first wipe the top of the reservoir and cap with a clean rag to prevent contamination of the system when the cap is unscrewed. Now, remove the level sensor plug and unscrew the cap and check the fluid in the reservoir for contamination. If you can see rust deposits, dirt particles or water droplets, the system needs to be properly drained, refilled and bled. If not, using a funnel, simply top up the reservoir with the specified type of new brake fluid until the fluid reaches the max line. After filling the reservoir to the proper level, put the cap back on, reattach the sensor plug and make sure the cap is fully seated to prevent fluid leakage or contamination. It's normal for the fluid level in the brake master cylinder to drop slowly over time as the brake shoes or pads at each wheel wear down. A very low level may indicate worn brake pads, which will need to be checked. If the brake fluid level drops consistently and more quickly, you'll need to check the entire system for leaks and have them corrected immediately. When so many fluid checks are vital for the safe and efficient running of your vehicle, the windscreen washer level seems less important. But if you're driving down a greasy motorway behind a truck and there's no fluid to clear the windscreen, you quickly realise how important it is. On our vehicle, the fluid for the windscreen washer system is stored in a plastic reservoir at the passenger side of the engine compartment. If you're not sure where yours is, have a look in the owner's manual. The rest is simple. Pull off the cap and fill the windscreen washer reservoir as necessary. In the summer, plain water can be used, but it should be kept no more than 2/3 full to allow for any expansion if it freezes. You can get windscreen washer system anti-freeze for colder climates in the winter and a wide variety of specially formulated windscreen detergents. Always follow the instructions though, and don't forget to refit the cap when you're finished.